Hello and welcome back, Squirrel Nation. I hope you're all having an outstanding day. Today is going to be the first episode of Squirrel Tests. The way this works out is the community can submit team composition ideas to me, and then I will take them into high-level ranked games. So today's gameplay is like half the lobby's queen, so this is very high-level lobby, and I am going to take Fatih Boz's idea of a Glacier Beast into this game, and I'm going to try my best to get the best results I can with this build. And as I am going through with this build, I'll be experimenting different things, formations, like I'll talk about how I think you can use this with an economy strategy, etc., etc., etc. Anyways, with that said, let's dive in. Okay, so here we go. To begin, I think a good way to take this build in is as a warrior early game start, because Glacier early is weak. Beast early, you don't really have access to strong beasts either, so I think a warrior start is the best way to go. The reason for that is you can get your 2-star Tusker, and you can mix them with other warriors to just basically build up that early thing. The other thing about Glacier builds are, because Glacier are pretty cheap units, you have 2 1 cost, 1 2 cost, and 1 3 cost, and then Berserker obviously. It is something you can start to pick up, but once again, they're not that strong. In this case, the thinking is you could either use Frost Knight or Defector. I would definitely go for Defector. The reason for that is Defector opens up another branch for you, which is Shaman. So at level 9, you could mix in a Storm Shaman to help you deal with like Mage comps, or even heavy Warrior, 6 Warrior comps to introduce magic damage. Plus, you get that Polymorph to start the match. So that can be something that will be really, really helpful. So that's kind of my idea. Another thing I think is a good add-in would be a Pirate Captain as your level 9. The reason for that is he will introduce human synergy with the werewolf that you want to pick up, and he will also be another warrior. So in this game, you can kind of see that happening. And honestly, I think after playing this build, and I played it in multiple games, not just this one, but this one was probably the best one for me to discuss different things about it, is I feel like you end up going 6 Warrior Beast just to get this build going, and then you kind of mix in the Glacier when you get a chance. So my honest opinion about this build is it's okay, but the times that you would go for it, you might as well go for 6 Warrior, 4 Beast. So, and I'll discuss that more as we go through this, but anyways, you'll see. So anyways, we got our warriors starting off. We're starting to mix in our beasts. That's why I pick up the Lord of Sand. I think Werewolf, Tusker, Poison Worm, and Razor Claw, I do think are the best beasts. I agree with Fatih on that. But Lord of Sand is definitely something you can mix in. I think if you wanted to mix him in, I would probably switch him out for the Poison Worm. So another thing about this build that I find to be troubling is you are counting on pieces that are highly contested. So in the meta, Werewolf is highly contested, Razor Claw is highly contested. If you don't have those pieces, your team is going to be significantly weaker, okay? So that's one issue. Then you think about Berserker. Berserker is highly, highly contested. It's contested by 6 warrior teams. It's contested by Glacier Knights, right? It's just contested every single game. So and this is the type of comp where Berserker is your damage carry. So that's another thing that I kind of don't like about this comp is you are running a lot of different heroes that are highly contested. And you can see this, right? It looks like I'm going Beast Warrior. It looks like another person's going Beast Warrior. So that's just the way it goes, right? Razor Claw is contested by Hunter teams, by all this different stuff. So anyways, that's something when you're putting together team comps, when you're theory crafting, that is something I always consider, is how contested are the heroes that I am using. So anyways, you can see as it's going, it's starting off good, but right now we're basically Beast Warriors. We know that Beast Warriors are strong early game, mid game, and then it kind of comes down to upgrades if a Beast Warrior can finish off the game crazy or not. Comes down to like, did they get 3 stars, did they get good items, that type of stuff. So anyways, I think unsurprising we're starting off that way. I get upgrade my Abyssal Guard, obviously I'm going to do that. Same thing, Pirate Captain, I'm obviously going to grab that. And this kind of comes to the point I was making. is if you notice now, I'm basically already have a lot of really great pieces to go for a Warrior Beast composition. Um, the Berserker I'm going to pick up for Glacier and all, but it's like, if you think about me switching in for the Glacier synergy, at this point I'm going to have to give up my Abyssal Guard, that's 2-star, my Swordsman, that's 2-star. So to me, all the games I played with this, that's the awkward moment, is it's like you're not using Glacier early, and by the time you switch them in, it's like you're giving up much better units to switch in these Glacier, and you'll see that transition in this game, and that to me is just something that's a little weird. Another thing is, I did try a game where this lose streak and I got 7th place, and the reason is because if you lose streak with this, it's like you have to hit that power, and if you don't hit your Berserker, you don't hit your Razor Claw, and you just lose streaked, your team is going to be weak. Like, your team is not, it's not like Feather where you're going to be able to get on a nice win streak. So like, I literally lose streak, my economy was great, I got to level 7, my health pool was even okay after the lose streak, but I just couldn't hit enough power to really push through this comp. So another thing about this comp is I don't think it's going to be that consistent at a high level because it can't operate off of different economic strategies. Like, I think if you play this comp, you basically have to front run. So you need to get a good early warrior start, ride that onto a win streak, use your economy to get leveled up quickly, right? Get to level 7, get to level 8, and then be able to re-roll pretty aggressively to get the Razor Claw before other teams grab it, to get your Berserker before other teams grab it, and your Werewolf. And Werewolf, it was my biggest headache. Every time I ran this game, Werewolf was so hard to get, and it made this, and it's so important to this composition because it's your beast, because it's your warrior, right? And it's just a quality piece. It ended up so rough. Another thing I want to point out in this game is I am getting lucky with items. I get an early puppet mask, and I'm getting good stuff. In some ways I'm unlucky in that I don't get mana items, and I do think that me not getting mana items definitely hurt my end results in this game. But that's another thing about this build, is if you're going to run a Poison Worm and you don't get mana items, I mean, it's going to be suboptimal, right? A Poison Worm that doesn't have 1 mana crystal is not nearly as strong as a Poison Worm with 1. Like, look how long it takes to ult. By the time my first Poison Word comes out, the enemy team's basically dead, right? So that's just really rough. This build also does, formation-wise, I think you have to be back on the board, and this kind of is the same with 6 Wars, in that there's so many marksmen and dwarf sniper in the meta right now, or dwarf snipers in the meta right now, that if you front your team, what happens is your Poison Worm gets automatically targeted by the dwarf sniper, and the dwarf sniper just kills your Poison Worm before it even spawns anything, so it just removes that whole utility. And that's where I'm almost tempted to actually just, instead of the Poison Worm, so to me, if you're going to run this build, this Glacier Beasts, I have a very easy decision. It's this. If you get a mana item on your Poison Worm, use Poison Worm. If you don't get a mana item on your Poison Worm, use Lord of Sand. To me, that's kind of the way. And that's if you have the option. Obviously, if you get an early 2-star Poison Worm or 2-star Lord of Sand, just go with it. But if you kind of are like me, you have one of each, and you're not hard committed, then go with the one that, if decide based on if you have the mana crystal or not. So anyways, that's that. So you can see I'm starting to pick up the Glacier. I'm trying to manage my economy as much as possible. We do lose our win streak, and if you notice, we lost to a Beast Warrior. So that's just the way it goes. So right now I'm sitting on the Warriors with 3 Beasts. I would love to get another Beast. It's just not happening. Once again, and I would love to get a Werewolf, because I also have the Pirate Captain, so then I'd have Human and the 4 Beast synergy together, which would be great power spike for my team. But if you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams getting Werewolf. One of them's 2-star. The other 3 teams have 1-star Werewolves. So this is what I mean by I don't like compositions that are heavily contested every single game. Werewolf is something that is heavily contested every single game. Razor Claw, heavily contested every single game. Berserker, I won't say heavily every game, but it's contested every single game. So anyways, I'm not going to harp on the same point. We're starting to lose. So we were on a win streak. Things went well. and that's because we were riding like kind of a Beast Warrior opening, and now here's the problem is these Beast Warriors, they're still pushing their warriors, right? They're getting their 5th, their 6th warriors, but me, now I'm starting to have to use my economy, my gold, to try to pick up these glaciers, right? I have, what, 8 gold sitting on my bench right now in Glacier, and until I have Berserker, it's kind of that, like, yeah, until I have Berserker, I don't really want to put in Glacier. It's going to make my team work weaker, right? If I try to put in these Glacier right now, my team is for sure weaker than if I keep the Beasts. Also, I need my 4th. The reason I'm keeping Frost Knight is say I get a Berserker before I get a Fortune Teller, then I'll use Frost Knight as my 4th Glacier. And like we discussed at the beginning of the video, I definitely think Defector is the better Glacier if you are going for Beast Glacier. Normally you keep Frost Knight if you're going for Glacier Knights because you want the 4 Knight synergy, but that's the only reason you keep Frost Knight then. But in this team comp, the Knight synergy, you're never going to use it, so it's kind of pointless. But anyways, we get another Poison Worm, and Wolves are coming up, and hopefully we will be repositioning here, which I'm pretty sure we will. Yep. And you can see, so our HP is highest in the game. Our economy, I think, is the highest. Yes, it's tied. Somebody has 57 gold, which is technically above me, but I mean, we're both at 50. We're at max economies. So, moral of the story, this is a great start, right? So I'm front running for sure. Like, I would count this as a front running. Have I got all the pieces I want? No, but I have been fortunate in this game to have a good start, a good strong synergy, and that's what I mean. Like, you're going to, and this is the reason I chose this game, because I think the only way, like I said, to run this build is if you're front running, and you will notice as this game progresses, choices become very weird, because it's like, yeah, I'll just wait for it to happen. Another note I want to say, we can just kind of discuss synergies and countering. So another thing that I think about when I'm thinking about meta builds and what to run is, you all know that I like to scout. I think scouting is very important. I think adapting your builds based on what's happening in the game is very important. I'm not doing it in this game because we're essentially forcing this build. I want to run this build. I want to test out how it goes, right? We do hit the Fortune Teller. I should sell the Frost Knight. But anyways, the point I'm making is if you theory craft, you have to ask yourself, what does this team comp counter? Like, what type of lobby am I going to play this in? Okay, so does it beat Beast Warrior? No, it doesn't. Okay, does it beat Feather? No, it doesn't beat Feather. Okay, so what does it beat? I would say this team comp, this Glacier Beast, I think will do very well against mages. Okay, the reason for that is Poison Worm is a great mage counter because the Poison wards don't take damage from the mages, and another thing is Glacier is a good counter to mages because they have quick damage, so they can kind of melt through the mage teams. And this is assuming you stay at around the same levels, right? So in theory, this could maybe be a mage counter team, maybe. It definitely loses to the 2 most meta teams, which are the Warrior Beast and 6 Feather anything. So that's where you have to ask yourself, if you're trying to use this as a legitimate build, if it absolutely gets crushed to the meta, then how often are you going to be able to play it, right? And I have this idea of situational builds versus consistent builds. A situational build is a build that you can use if the stars align, right? So let's say this lobby, half the teams go for mage builds. Then yeah, maybe I can use this. Or say I get force-fed Glacier and like a 2-star Berserker instantly in the game, and right, just things, the stars align. Then you can go for this build. But if this is a build you think that you can use in a good amount of your games, I don't think it is, if we're talking about higher up. So now I have a weird choice, and here's where the weird choices start, right? So now I have 4 Glacier, I have my 4 Beast, and this is where things get weird, because if you notice and you ask yourself, if you look at the board right now, what's the strongest team that I can put on the board, right? Is it the 6 Warriors with Beasts? Is it the Glacier Beasts? Is it, right? So, and this is what I mean by things just get strange in this, is I was sitting there asking myself, I'm like, okay, I could put in 4 beasts, but then I'm just sitting here with all these glacier on my bench, and then I'm basically going beast warriors, right? Like at that point, I'm already like I have 6 warriors on the board. I'm already beast warriors. Literally, if I get the Razor Claw, all I do is I just put in Razor Claw. I level to 8, and then I'm a beast warrior team, right? And we all know beast warrior is a very strong meta comp. Okay, so we know what it loses to, we know what it does well against, and yeah, I mean, that's what it is. So I'm already there. The comp that's actually going to give you enough time to get to Glacier Beasts is probably one of the top comps, if not the best comp, the second best comp in the meta. So you're essentially pivoting away from a top tier comp to go into this Beast Glacier comp, right? That's how I look at it. And see, that's what I did, right? So now I gave up my 2 Beast synergy, I gave up my 6 Warrior synergy, and I traded that in for 4 Glacier, right? So now we need to look, okay, how's this going to do? And from here on, I also start to experiment with positioning. Okay, so I crushed through that person. I'm crushing through this person. If we look where they're ranked, this person that I just crushed through is in 6th place, so nothing, that's not too great. The other person that I beat, I believe, was the last place person. I may be wrong on that. I'd have to rewind to look. But anyways, so far, okay, it's fine, right? But round 21 is coming. Everybody's going to hit level 8, and we're going to see their true compositions. We're going to see everybody's 8-man, 8-hero compositions, and then we're going to really see what is going on in this game. So anyways, that is a big note I wanted to make about this, is just the awkwardness of transitioning. Because every game I played this, I feel like there was a better team composition I could have went for, and I intentionally bypassed a better team composition to settle for Beast Glacier. That's how I feel in these games. And I think a big reason for that is if you look at the overlap is very strong. So if you look at the core of this team, a Beast Glacier team, the core of a Beast Glacier team is Werewolf, Razor Claw, Tusker, and Berserker, right? And all 4 of those pieces are used in a Beast Warrior team. So that's what I mean by overlap. And then if you look at Glacier Knights, they run 4 of the key units, which are the Berserker, Desperate Doctor, Fortune Teller, and I guess they don't use the Defector, they would use Frost Knight, so 3. So there's just there's a ton of overlap in this comp. Anyways, you're going to see the marksman thing. If I'm in the back position, if you notice, the Dwarf Sniper's just straight onto my Berserker. He's frozen in the corner. I don't know. That mechanic drives me insane in this game, to be honest. It's just super inconsistent. But anyway, so we are beating this marksman at this point. But if you notice, our quality is way in front of him, and that person is, I believe, yeah, that person's in 4th place right now in the game. We also crush him from his point of view too. So we beat the 4th place player pretty heavily, but we are pretty ahead of him in terms of quality, so that's something to watch. And what I mean is, if you notice, everything on mine is 2 stars, including a 2-star Pirate Captain already. At round 21, I'm already 2-star Pirate Captain. My Berserker is the only 1-star thing. So my quality is really sick right now, so that's another thing to consider when you're testing builds is, am I winning because this is a 6 synergy, or am I winning because I am way ahead in quality? Okay, so anyways, we're going on. And first I test the corner position, then I'm going to test a middle position, and let's talk about the problem with a corner position. The problem with the corner position is if you're running a Poison Worm, then the Poison Worm, there's a lot of times where your Poison Worm doesn't get off great ultimates. It gets trapped and it can't spawn its Poison Ward. So keep in mind, the Poison Worm only will spawn wards if it has open spaces adjacent to it. So the problem I found with a corner position in this build is your Poison Worm doesn't really get the space it needs. If I tried putting the Poison Worm where the Berserker is, then it gets trapped almost every single time. That's why I put the Berserker in the far right corner, and I actually put the Poison Worm one over, because your Desperate Doctor and your Fortune Teller tend to kind of spread out, which gives more room to your Poison Worm, but it doesn't always work out that way, especially versus some of the people who are more aggressive in positioning. And here, so there you can see I'm learning that lesson. I'm testing out. These are the tests. I'm switching the Poison Worm now with the Berserker to see how it goes. When the enemy is diagonal to me, it's okay. And if you notice, against the hunters, if I'm on the diagonal, so the dwarf snipers don't automatically target my berserker and poison worm, it's okay. So that was first place. We beat them. That's good. I'm looking at quality. They still have 3 different pieces that are 1 star, but they are 4 cost pieces. But still, I mean, you know, my quality's a little ahead, but I still beat them pretty convincingly. So at this point, I'm pretty happy. I'm happy with this build. I do hit a 2-star berserker. So now I mean, to me, this is when this build has to shine. Is I have hit everything to 2-star, and now I don't have all my optimal synergy, but now I'm everything to 2-star, and I'm very close to my optimal synergies, which is I'm at 2 beasts out of the 4. I am at Glacier, and I am at 3 warriors. So that's basically what we're aiming for. I just need to wait until I can hit a Razor Claw or a 4th beast, and then I can get to my full synergy. But at this point, this team comp needs to already be performing, because you can't always wait for a Razor Claw. You can't always wait for 4 beasts. It has, like, other branches of this build have to be strong. And here you go, I'm fighting a Glacier, I'm fighting a Beast Warrior, and I'm getting stomped on, right? And he still has a 1-star Berserker, he still has a 1-star Poison Worm. His quality is lower than my quality, right? So what that tells me is just Beast Warrior beats this Glacier Warrior Beast, right? This assortment of things that I currently have gets beat by a standard Beast Warrior. So that's what I'm learning out of that. So here under round 25, I'm thinking of level 9, and to me, it's kind of a rough choice because I want to hit a 3-star Tusker. I need 1 more, and if I go to level 9, my odds are lower, and then also my economy is going to be dead, so I'm not going to have much reroll, but I do need a Razor Claw. I really want a Razor Claw. But the other thing is I really need a Werewolf, and if I go to level 9, my probability of getting a Werewolf also goes down, and we know that Werewolf is contested by 4 other teams, I think it was. So, I mean, I really need to hit. And you guys can see, like, Werewolf is such a problem. Razor Claw is such a problem. They're going to be problems for this build. That's just the way it's going to play out. So anyways, re-rolling. Our health is to where we don't need a YOLO roll, but I will keep re-rolling around 30. The reason for 30 is if you think about round 29, I'll need 30 gold to level to 9. So if I stay around 30 gold, I'm not sacrificing too much economy, and I leave myself the option to go to 9 if I am able to hit a Razor Claw. So here, once again, we're fighting a Beast Warrior, and you know we can see how it goes. Is it a close fight? Is it a stomping? At this point, you can see he mixed in a Dark Spirit, so that obviously is giving him some power, some nice power. But at the same time, he still has 1 cost. He still has 1-star Berserker. He still has 1-star Poison Worm, and he just crushes through me. I am still beating the marksman, so that's nice, right? But let's look at these marksmen. Let's see how their quality is. Am I beating the marksman because of my position? Because I'm diagonal to him? Am I beating him because of quality? So this marksman still has 2 1-stars, so not bad. Our quality is very close with first place marksman. But I think the other marksman team is the one we fought, and actually that person had all 2 stars, so not bad. So this team comp at this point is not too bad against marksman, and actually that I could see this doing okay against marksman, assuming you have good position, which is diagonal. Against marksman's team, you 100% want to be diagonal to them. Your poison worm, your berserker must be out of range of the dwarf sniper. If you put your poison worm within range of the dwarf sniper, it's really going to hurt this team's team composition. So anyways, this is where I start to mid, and here's another thing. There's an assassin in this game, which is why I was cornering, but I was never fighting the assassin, and then of course as soon as I go mid, I fight the assassin. And you can see the problem with taking the formation that I just took against an assassin team is it leaves your poison worm and your berserker as basically the first targets the assassins are going to jump on, and if your assassin and your poison worm and your berserker die, you are going to be in a unhappy position. Here we go, we're fighting the marksman again. We're still getting through him. He has a 3-star dwarf sniper, so that is feeling pretty good, right? So I do think this build does well against marksman too, if you can, assuming position. but Beast Warrior, you can see, smashes it. The Assassins, so what I decide to do for Assassins is I go for a T formation, and I probably do that in one of the coming rounds, and you'll see what I mean. But essentially what I do is I put my, and yeah, here, we're doing it right now. So the reason I do this is for the Assassins. Now what will happen is my Fortune Teller and Desperate Doctor will go left and right, and then when the Assassins jump in, they should target onto Fortune Teller and Desperate Doctor. The problem is just going to be from here on, I think the marksmen start to even become a problem, and I'm not really doing super well against them, and that's an issue. And yeah, the Beast Warrior, same thing. The Beast Warrior just stomps me the whole game. And that's just unfortunate, and yeah, so the marksman starts to beat me. At this point, though, I will say, the marksman, I think, is beating me because his quality is getting ahead of me, not because of synergy-wise. So I think this is a solid marksman, counter to marksman. An interesting note is Glacier Knights are very good against Assassins. Fortune Teller is a big reason for that. So I do think I will actually be okay against Glacier Knights also. Or sorry, 6 Assassin teams with this build. I think you'll actually be okay if your positioning is good. The problem is the positioning you need versus an Assassin and the positioning you need versus like the Warrior or the Marksman teams is slightly different, but I think if you go for a corner position, you'll be okay. The problem for me here was, and if I kept using this build, is Beast Warriors are going to beat you no matter what, just accept the loss and don't position for the Beast Warrior teams. And you can see that the Beast Warrior, as he upgrades more and more, is just absolutely stomping me. But we have made it into 4th place at this point, and so we're left against the Beast Warrior and I believe 2 different marksman teams. So, I mean, this just comes to the matchmaking. I'm still looking for Razor Claw. Like we said, I mean, this team comp, it gets so rough to get your 4 beasts in because you're like 2 of the beasts that you want are so contested in the Werewolf and the Razor Claw. Other games, I did try going for Lord of Sand and is a substitution, and Lord of Sand is okay, but one of the games I even got, the game that I got 7th place, I had a 3-star Lord of Sand, but I didn't have a Werewolf. So I had a Razor Claw, the Tusker, the Lord of Sand as another kind of tank, and at 3-star, and then the Poison Worm, and I just absolutely got crushed. So I don't really think, I don't think you can substitute out Werewolf and Lone Druid. They're just so necessary because they add tankiness to your team. But anyways, we're still trying to roll. I'm thinking at this point maybe I'm just not going to be able to get this beast, and so that's why I'm thinking the Storm Shaman, and I could switch the Storm Shaman out for the Swordsman is kind of what my thinking is. And my other thinking is the Storm Shaman could potentially help me against the Beast Warrior since he is stomping me. I decide to give it one more round, and I do hit the Razor Claw. So that is another thing I will add, is if this is a comp that you really want to try to run and you want to try to make consistent, I would experiment with Storm Shaman because the weakness of this comp is 100% going to be Beast Warrior, so you need to look for a way to get consistent results against Beast Warrior if you want to take this in. And consistent results don't have to be you beat the Beast Warrior, but it's at least you can't get crushed by the Beast Warrior. Like, if you notice, the Beast Warrior has been destroying my health pool every single round. So if you can just get to where the Beast Warrior only beats you by like 2 or 3 heroes, I think that would be okay to take this comp into the future. So anyways, we're just rolling down. I just want to, I want to hit the synergy just to test it. Yes, finally. And we get offered 2 Razor Claws. So awesome. Bam, buy them. Okay, nice. So before this game ends, I am able to test the full-on team composition. And I think this is the best 9-man Glacier Beast you could possibly get, because the Pirate Captain, I think, is the absolute best level 9 add-in. It gives you human synergy, and it brings the CC to your team with the Pirate Captain's ultimate. So anyways, you can see this, and we are fighting the warrior. So this has been the person crushing us, and notice actually, when we actually get to the full synergy, we're doing okay, right? Like, things are, and this does give me hope for this team composition, is if we look at things maxing out, it becomes a lot closer. Like we said, you just can't be getting crushed. And so in this case, we do win. Another person goes out that round, so we do make it into top 3. And now the people left over, I believe, are the Beast Warrior and the Marksman. And I think it's a debuff Marksman. We'll have to look. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, we're just kind of re-rolling to see if we can get a 3-star Razor Claw, but we don't. So whatever. Let's distribute items, and yeah, I'm happy with my positioning because I'm safe from the Dwarf Snipers, and we just won against the 9 Warrior. Unfortunately, the 9 Warrior gets some upgrades. Notice I switched my Pirate Captain onto the Dark Spirit to get the Silence. I do hit the Silence, so this looks awesome, right? I mean, that's as good as the fight could go. The Dark Spirit doesn't get ultimate off. And dies without getting ultimate off. All my ultimates go off, everything, but he basically still stomps through me. And I'm not really sure what his upgrade he got was, but he got something. And you can see the Marksman is starting to beat me. And I think the reason the Marksman started to beat me was the Siren, but I'm not 100% sure on. So, oh, actually, no. I remember what it was. And after this, I go through and I look at items. Essentially what happened is the Marksman team just hit insane items, and you'll see that. So we've all been there. And by being there, I mean you lose because of items. You're not losing because of other stuff. So my thinking is, okay, the only person I could beat is probably the Hunter, because this Beast Warrior, I'm pretty sure, is just going to stomp me no matter what. So I'm positioning against the Hunter. And kind of my thinking was keep my stuff out of the range, and I was happy with this engagement because I came in from a side, and I thought if I flank them like this, it would actually help me instead of fighting them straight on. If I would have fought them straight on, all my team would have focused onto both the divinities. So I attempted the flank. It still didn't work. This person crushes through me. I'm a little surprised because I was beating them most of the game. So I did end up going through at this point and checking, and you can see what I mean about the items. In this game, I don't think I was horribly unlucky with items, but if you compare it to these people, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, Orber Refresh, the Berserker, Mass of Madness, like, look at this, Heaven's Gift, 2 different plate armors, and look at the Dwarf Sniper. Good lord, like, I was just like, oh, okay, that's why I started to lose. But anyways, so in summarizing, I do think this synergy, this pairing, I think there are definitely times you can use it and you could have really good finishes. Like, to be honest, I think if I would have hit items at that end game, or if I would have just hit the 4 beast synergy earlier, like if I could have just got a Razor Claw, got a Werewolf earlier in the game, I think I could have done so much better. I probably could have taken first in this game. If I could have got more items, like better items, I think I could have probably got first, maybe second in this game. So the composition definitely, there's something to it. But throughout the video, you heard most of my concerns about this. I think it's not going to be consistent because the pieces that it requires, the core pieces, are too contested, and it is simply a worse version of a meta build, being the 6 Warrior 4 Beast. But anyways, that does it for today's video. Please remember to let me know what you think of this new series, where I test out all of your the community's builds and let you know my thoughts and how I would change it, tweak it, and if I think it could be consistent at a high level. So let me know in the comments if you want to see this type of content in the future. And as always, take care, happy ranking, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.